Hey everyone, it's Caleb Reese with TennoArmory.com, bringing you yet another Warframe build guide. Today we're going to be looking at Loki and its support build. So here I'm going to spawn in the Simulacrum. I'm going to spawn a bunch of the Corpus robotic units, right? And these guys normally do a lot of work, especially at level 130. So this is what happens if you walk out against a level 130 dude. You just get wrecked, right? So what can we do in order to not die instantly? Well, before we would just use permanent invisibility, right? And run out and be like, well, nothing can hurt me, and so I'm good. But the problem with this is that, well, your teammates can still get wrecked, right? And we saw what happens to Loki. Granted, Loki isn't the beefiest of Warframes, but you're still going to take a lot of damage, especially from these Corpus units. So let's see what happens if we use Radial Disarm. So now all the weapons have been stripped from the Corpus units. They now have the batons on top of their head, right? All of them wearing the batons, and they're all attacking each other. Now some of these units can still shoot. I believe the Bursas can still shoot afterwards. So they will. It's gonna be the Bursas, yeah. It's gotta be the Bursas. Those guys can still shoot you, but the rest of them are gonna melee you, which is phenomenal. Like if you look at all these units, all of them are chasing me, but the Bursas will shoot. If you look at the Bursa, let me go walk up to one of them. I just want to show you what that looks like. they're all chasing me. All right, this is kind of funny. It's kind of comical now. I figured they would shoot me from a range. Okay, there we go. See that Bursa back there? Shoot me. All right. So the Bursas will not be affected by it. They will still shoot you, but all the other units will be affected by Radial Disarm, and they'll get batons instead of shooting you, which is phenomenal. So I just wanted to show you what it does against the robotics. We already know what it does against the Grineer, right? So let me go ahead and clear all this. Let's do some of the more crazier units, like the heavy gunners. We'll do like 8 of those guys. The bombards, man, those guys one-shot you, right? The higher you go up. And then these eviscerators, those guys hurt too, right? If you get hit by one of those guys, you get chunked. So let's go ahead and simulate that. Obviously, I'm sure if I go jump over there with Loki, I'm going to get destroyed, or I'm going to get bodied. So I'm going to go ahead and hit invisibility, and I want to show you the range on this thing. So, whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, let's try this again. So, well, that guy was not having any of it. Alright, let's go ahead, and I'm going to have to re-simulate. Alright, there we go. So, I'm going to go ahead and mark one of these enemies, so you see it's 32 range, 32 meters. I'm going to hit one of these guys, 26 meters, and those guys, I don't know where they went. Okay, they're far away, right? So 30 meters. I want to go ahead and hit it so you see that it hits the entire room. I'm going to go ahead and jump up here. You can see all the enemies that are affected. All of those guys are affected, they're all affected. All across the map. I mean, this is a really large range. It doesn't matter what tile you're going to be on. It's going to affect everything. Can you imagine affecting this big of a battlefield? All the enemies no longer have weapons, and they're all attacking each other, so your teammates don't have to worry about getting shreked, right? This is really, really good. So let's go look at the build and see how we can achieve this. Alright. So let's look at the abilities. Radial Disarm has a 29 meter range, almost 40, right? 40 meter range. So we're going to be able to cover a lot of the battlefield. Another cool thing that I didn't show, and I probably should, is we'll just briefly talk about it. Is when all the enemies have batons out, you can round them up with the decoy, right? Since they have to walk over and smack it, this is a good way of getting them to all round up. But just keep that in mind if you're ever fighting. If you ever have, like, if you're doing like an endless defense or survival and you want them all to go at one point and you have like a bunch of explosive weapons or something, that's really good to use. So let's look at the mods. Alright, so we already saw that we're going to be using Radial Disarm as our primary crowd control ability, and what makes it work even better is the augment for Irradiating Disarm. What this does is it's going to give everyone a radiation proc that's affected by Radial Disarm, and they're going to be confused for 9 seconds. Now this does scale with duration, so we want to increase our duration as much as we can. We currently have 242, I believe that comes out to like 22 second confusion, so it's a long time, right? and you've already seen the range. It was like 39 point something. We're just going to say 40 meters. So this is a really long range. You can get higher. You can fluctuate the duration in the range. But I feel like this is a really good sweet spot, right? And so let's look at the individual mods. So for duration, we're going to use Prime Continuity. If you don't have the Prime version, you can use a regular one. Just note that you will be affected over here. Not by much. You can use Narrow-Minded. I know that it affects the range, but I felt like having that extra confusion time is a lot better than having a little more range, especially as you scale. Because these guys with the batons, if I go walk up to them, they will one-shot me. So it's a lot better if they're attacking each other and not my teammates, right? Alright, so Constitution is going to be the last power duration mod. And then for range, we're going to use Overextended. Now remember, the power strength we don't use in this build doesn't affect anything. So Stretch and Cutting Drift will be our power range mods. Then finally we need to get some power efficiency, because we're going to be using Radial Disarm that costs 100 energy. So having a maxed out Streamline and rank 3 Footing Expertise I found to be the sweet spot. It's going to make your ability only cost 30 energy, and at 263 energy, that will allow you to cast your Radial Disarm 8.7 times, about 8 times before you run out of energy. And now remember, it only costs 30 energy to do this, so you basically pick up an energy orb and maybe take a few ticks from, let's say, an energy siphon, right? And you're back up, you're able to spam it again, right? Now let's couple that with like a Xeneric focus, and let's say even maybe a syndicate weapon with the proc that gives you energy, and you can spam this all day. Nothing is gonna hit you, nothing is gonna have weapons, they're gonna be smacking each other, and all of a sudden Loki is an amazing CC frame. So I would highly recommend this against all factions, even the Infested. Although the problem with the Infested is they do have the Toxic Ancients, and since, as you can see, we don't have any defensive mods, and we certainly don't have a very high health pool, you will get absolutely bodied. So I don't recommend taking it in against extreme high level Infested unless you're really good at picking up the Toxic Ancients from afar, because they'll just absolutely destroy you. So I hope I've displayed what, the power of this build, what it can do against the Grineer and the Corpus factions. Hopefully it has inspired you to go and look at Loki a different way. I know everyone likes using him against the spy missions and exterminates and captures and stuff like that, but hopefully this gives you a different playstyle and you can maybe bring him into some more endless missions and defenses now. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or concerns, or maybe you have ideas on how to make the build better, leave them down in the comments below. And if you have some time, please go check out our website at tennoarmy.com. We have a lot more builds for you, and we keep adding more every day. And as always, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.